Or hello everyone. It's time to start. I hope that some other people will join us as well. So, hello and welcome to the presentation about the DevOps transformation in Microsoft. Actually, we will be talking about the transformation in the Azure DevOps teams that started in 2010. This is a part of the whole Microsoft developer division. You will see the size of these teams in a few slides. So we will be talking about the Agile part of this transformation, regarding the way how these teams plan and organize their work, as well as about many different technical and engineering practices known under the name of DevOps that they have embraced along the way and that made a huge impact on their journey. Thanks to our sponsors. I'm Anna, this is my colleague Ognjen, and we work together in the Croatian company Agilist IT. We are talking about this topic because we have been with the platform since its early beginnings in 2004, so we have worked pretty much with each version of the platform, installing it, using it in our development efforts, helping our customers use it and configure it to their needs. We are both Microsoft MVPs for Azure DevOps, which gives us the opportunity to be in close relationships with the teams whose transformation we are actually describing. So we have open communication channels towards them, and we meet at least once a year with them on a conference called MVP Summit. This is a picture from the last summit in March this year, where we met with our fellows MVPs and had the chance to discuss once again with the Azure DevOps teams what is their current status and what are their plans for futures, not only regarding the development of the Azure DevOps platform, but as well about what's the status of their transformation and what they're planning regarding additional steps within the DevOps transformation that's ongoing for them.
So let's start the story of the DevOps transformation in Microsoft's Azure DevOps team, which is about 850 people strong, consisting of about 60 feature teams, distributed globally over 4 locations in the US and in India. And this is the team developing Azure DevOps, consisting of 5 major services that support planning, development, testing, and delivery of software, so catering for all the needs of the software development organization. Perhaps most interesting fact about Azure DevOps in relationship to Microsoft and Microsoft's team and Azure DevOps is that Azure DevOps is the foundation for the Microsoft's own engineering system. So all of Microsoft, as you can see from the numbers on the slide, almost 100,000 people in Microsoft use Azure DevOps in order to build software. So all of Office, Windows, HoloLens, Azure is built using Azure DevOps. And besides being staggering, these numbers are also important because they tell us that Microsoft depends on Azure DevOps in order to implement Azure DevOps, so the dog fooding practice. And obviously they will be the first to experience the pain should there be any problems with the platform. And go figure what that means for their treatment of quality of that software that they produce. The idea and the strategy to have one engineering platform for whole of the Microsoft has been driven by their CEO Satya since 2014.
So let's take a look about the process of planning and how their teams are organized. They work in sprints. They started sprinting in 2010 when the world already was changing. They were a classical organization having long release cycles at that time that lasted more than 2 years sometimes. So they decided to go Agile. That was the initial mindset. Everyone was trained on Agile. Nowadays they work in 3-week sprints, delivering regular updates to their Azure DevOps service platform after each sprint. They do Scrum, but as well they do different other flavors of Agile methodologies, and this is left to the level of each particular feature teams. As long as the team delivers each 3 weeks, this is fine regarding the culture, approach, and responsibility that is required for the teams within the Azure DevOps set of teams. One of the interesting things that happened during this transformation is how they restructured their teams within Azure DevOps. So at the time when they started, they were a classical organization with a large product management team, a lot of development teams, and separated testing teams, and they suffered from classical problems regarding long planning cycles and keeping quality under control. At that time, they had approximately 27,000 automated tests. Nevertheless, these tests were not reliable enough, and the testers were continuously complaining because it was really hard to write automated tests on top of code developed by developers. So we have had a siloed approach that they decided to break up and combine testing and development within a single combined engineering role. So everyone was given a chance to upscale, so developers had to learn methods how to write automated tests, testers had to learn developer practices. Not everyone was happy, a number of people left. Those who remained stayed in the teams that are fully responsible for not only the code they are producing, but also for the tests they are writing. In other words, they are fully responsible for the quality. They went further on, creating feature teams, and this is the way how they work nowadays. So a feature team incorporated the ops role as well, and they are now working on features and being fully responsible for features from the phase of planning until monitoring features in production.
So the feature teams are nothing but your usual cross-functional, self-organizing Scrum teams. Scrum teams consisting of 10 to 12 people, a bit on a bigger side, that are responsible for a specific set of features. So for a vertical cut through the architecture end to end. So they not only plan, develop, test, and deliver software, they take care of their set of features in the production environment. So they will be those that will be woken up at 3 a.m. should there be any incident in a feature that they developed. And once again, in addition to dog fooding in general, the responsibility for features in production obviously influences their treatment of quality. So they are fully responsible for the quality of the features that they develop. They work together, live together in team rooms, so they're physically co-located, and they stay together for at least 12 to 18 months. And after each 18-month period, they exercise so-called sticky note exercise, which is an event in which the teams are being built. This is an open space event in which in a big space for each team, and there are 60 of them, plus technical lead and program management lead, do a quick speech, pitch describing or trying to sell to future team members the idea of becoming a member of that future feature team and providing some future set of features to the world. And it all takes place in the same room, so not only do you choose, and people will cast their votes and be able to say what their first, second, and third choice of the future feature team would be. Not only do they do it in the same room, so you can choose which features would you like to work on, but you can see who else does the same, and so you can choose who you would like to work with. And interestingly enough, over 80% of people stay in their own teams, in their previously worked. A bit less than 20% of people move away in each of those sessions, which is also good for knowledge transfer, experience transfer, and good work culture in general.
Azure DevOps teams use the practice of continuous planning, whereby they use the notion of a year-long strategy, a 6-month-long semester, quarters, and 3-week sprints, and they do it in a rolling manner. This means that at each point of time they have a strategy that is stretched across the next year. Previously they used longer periods, but then again at one point of time they realized it was simply too long, that other competitors on the market were doing better, so they decided to shorten their longest planning period. They use a practice called aligned autonomy, which means that their leadership is responsible for planning at the level of strategy and semester, deciding about what they are going to build and why they are building it. And all this planning is based on feedback from their production environment. We will be talking about that a little bit later. Underneath, on the level of quarters and sprints, each feature team that we described is responsible for their own planning. So when they agree on a larger period of time what needs to be built, then the team within that period decides how they are actually going to build those features, and this is fine. So they have whole operative planning done on the level of each sprint, as long as they are aligned with high-level strategies. They use the so-called objectives and key results, so OKR practice, which defines the objective they want to meet across a longer period of time. OKRs are revisited at the level of each quarter, and they then define different measures for being sure that they are meeting these objectives. OKRs are defined at the level of the whole Azure DevOps as a service, breaking down into particular services, so the 5 services we described at the beginning, and then below that at the level of each team, and they are once again continuously revisited according to the feedback coming from the production environment, so that they are able to change direction in so often as needed. If you are wondering how 60+ teams stay in sync in general, it is because they use different other people practices. We have selected 2 as an example here. The first one are called sprint mails. So at the end of each sprint, there are sprints composed by feature teams on the level of each service, and these mails show to everyone involved what has been delivered in terms of meeting objectives for that sprint, and together with short videos, so in a short way you can see what has actually been deployed and delivered. And additionally, they share their plans for the upcoming sprints. Beside that, each 3 sprints, so after each 3 sprints, each feature teams meets with higher level management in order to discuss their plans, progress, and impediments. So this is all related to that aligned autonomy that I previously described on one of the slides.
So let's discuss a bit their engineering practices. So what does it take to work on a daily basis in a development team in Azure DevOps? First of all, in order to achieve the maximum speed of the development, they work in just one branch. Everything takes place out of master. So the features are developed in short-lived feature branches, but as soon as a small piece of code or commit is prepared, they are being merged into the master. And with over 170 commits per day, keeping master in good shape might be a challenge, and indeed it is. And they depend heavily on code review practices provided by Git pull request experience, and also by automated tests executed as part of pull request. And merges are done by the people that develop the software that they merge. So there is no separation between development in a feature branch and then merging. So everyone merges their own code. And everyone tests their own code, as Anna has described previously when we discussed the organization of teams. Developers write the feature code, but they also write the test code as well. And So, and as I've mentioned, many tests, so there is a huge number of tests executed very early in the development process. So Microsoft's team shifted the treatment of quality to the left, to the very beginning of the development process, and as you will see, so in this, this is a build report in which you could see, this is a bit bigger that they execute over 60,000 tests within 6 minutes. This is a couple of years old. Nowadays they execute like 90,000 tests within 11 minutes, and these are not unit tests. Technologically they are, but these are feature tests, so functional tests and integration tests with which they test real usage scenarios. And they are executed even before the commit has been committed to the source control, merged into the master branch. So very early in the development process, they defend the quality of their code base in a high quality way. In addition to that, in order to keep control or keep the grip over the quality, they also continuously take care of number of bugs, and they have a simple heuristic rule based on bug cap. So if a feature team has more bugs active than given by the bug cap, they start slowing down the work on features and increasing the work on resolving bugs until the bugs are under control once again. And in this example, the bug cap is calculated by a simple formula, number of members in the team, and times 4 or times 5, so that they have 1 bug per day normally. So if they have 40 or more, then they tend to cease the work on the features and focus on the bugs. We've said that they have a responsibility to work both on new features, but also on the life cycle. Should there be any incidents, they would be those that have to take care. So these are two separate and not easy to integrate types of work. One is continuous and one introduces interruptions. And in order to focus the most of the team on the feature work, they split the team into F team and L team. F team being dedicated to features and L team dedicated to safeguarding of the life cycle. And this way they retain the capacity for features and at the same time retain the ability to react to the life cycle incidents in real time. And those guys dedicated to the life cycle incidents are on the call for a week at a time, and they rotate the membership in the L team so that the knowledge is also transferred throughout the team, but also that those guys don't get burned by continuously being on call.
Okay, so let's move on to the production. So since they are a service running 24/7, being up and running and with good quality is really crucial for them. This is why they use a number of practices in order to deploy safely and monitor their production environment. So they use so-called practices of safe deployment, which means that they have multiple production rings. So they deploy throughout the rings all the new features. They do it without downtime, so the features are not feeling anyhow the fact that something is being done in the production environment, and everything is fully automated. So there is no manual intervention within their deployment pipeline. You saw they run a really large amount of tests, not only the pull request, but continuously as they go through their production rings, and there is a lot of telemetry running in the background. So when they finish a sprint, each 3 weeks, they started deploying in the ring 0, which is the ring where they work. So the Azure DevOps teams work in ring 0, which means that if they done something wrong, they are going to feel it first. After 48 hours, as telemetry is running in the background, and if everything is fine, they move on to the first ring, which is used by some internal friendly teams within Microsoft, MVPs, regional directors, so a larger publicum. If everything is fine, they move to the first real production environment, which is in Brazil, which is a smaller data center used by a smaller number of production clients. And it's fine for them because it's also in their time zone, so if there are errors, they can react promptly. And later on, so they keep on deploying in further rings. On good days, they say it takes 10 days for all the features to reach all their clients. If something goes wrong, then they stop with their deployment, fix the bugs, and start redeploying again from ring 0. I mentioned production telemetry. Azure DevOps runs fully on Azure. This is why they are leveraging all the telemetry that can be collected in Azure, not only regarding how the application runs, so regarding the services, exceptions, performance, log, etc., but also various ways of keeping control under which features are used and how are the features used, because this data is used for planning and experimentation. It is really crucial for them to be able to react on incidents even before their customers notify or see this, and sometimes they are even, so in many occasions they are even able to correct that in production. If not, as I already said, they deploy forward, so they fix bugs and start redeploying through all their rings. They collect about 7 terabytes of data daily, and this data is being automatically consumed, so analyzed in the background. They invested a lot in the routing mechanism regarding the alerts, so the person in the L team that are actually responsible for the production during one period get alerted only when they need to be alerted. They need to react within 5 minutes during working hours and within 15 minutes out of working hours, and they need to get on a phone call in order to be able to collaborate with other engineers. Usually there is someone from the Azure team as well, in order to see what kind of incident happened in their production environment. Live-side incidents are treated really with care. They do root cause analysis regarding each incident. They fix it, and then later on they transparently publish this root cause analysis on their blog in order for their clients to show that they will, so that they are aware of what kind of incident happened and how they are going to mitigate that incident not to happen again in their production environment. They expect to fix those errors within the next 2 sprints.
So this was an overview of DevOps transformation, and in this short overview slides we show the highlights of what it used to look like and what it looks like now. And you can see that there are radical changes in the way they plan. They used to have 2 years or 3 years planning horizon and development cycle, and nowadays they deliver every 3 weeks. They used to have less control or minimal control over quality, and nowadays they keep tight control over quality and are able to deliver. Actually, they deliver twice a day, so they are constantly able to deliver, and at the same time they are able to efficiently work on new features and take care of live-site incidents should there be any, and we know that those things happen. So once again, this was the story of DevOps transformation in Microsoft's Azure DevOps team. The culture, as in any DevOps transformation, was a critical thing. So by supporting the self-organizing nature of teams and providing for such a culture, the leadership got the behavior, if you like, that they wanted to get. In this team, they insist on delivering and also on continuously monitoring and analyzing telemetry in order to understand the value or that they produced or didn't produce. So this transformation started 10 years ago and moves on without end in sight. Thank you.
We have still 2 minutes if there are any questions.
Yeah.
I have a question, and I'm really interested because you mentioned the part, if I'm correct, pull requests. So I guess that introduces probably code reviews, right?
Right.
So doesn't that, because my experience has shown me that when you introduce code reviews, you request, of course, other team members to actually review the code. Doesn't that bring queuing, so people start, okay, I don't have time to do this because I did my stuff, so these code reviews start piling up, which means that people can start submitting less code because they know their code is going to be stuck waiting for someone to review. So I would like to hear, did that happen with you?
So they started the transformation a long time ago. They had an adjustment period, so they had problems like this. But now they are handling just with better planning. So code review is part of our job.
Yeah.
They just
you have
plan it within the efforts. It's not something additional that is not part of each developer's activity.
Okay.
So they get the first-class treatment and is dealt with diligently.
Okay.
As well as this is the same way with unit testing. So write-it automated test is part of each task.
Yeah.
And it's planned within the time for that particular activity.
As simple as that.
Any other questions? No? Thank you.
Thank you.